Welcome back, everybody. We are going to work on our doorknob now, and I wanted to quick talk with you about the different way that you could do this in case you don't have a DK yarn available. First of all, I am going to be using an f 3.75 millimeter hook while I do the doorknob, but I'm also going to be using Scapy Stonewash, which is a DK weight yarn, fairly thin, and this is a worsted weight yarn, but I'm going to just show you real quick that if you don't have a DK weight yarn available, you can actually separate a 4-ply into two 2-ply sections that will give you basically the same weight yarn. Okay, I don't recommend this as a large project answer, but we're only working with a small square right now. So if you need to create a DK weight yarn out of your worsted weight yarn, I think that it would be reasonable for you to do it for something this size. Okay, but I'm just going to move everything out of the way. We're going to go ahead and start on the doorknob and start with your slip stitch, F hook, and chain 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Working in the back humps of your chain, single crochet in the second lump from your hook and in the next 3. So you're going to end up with a total of 4 stitches. Now for this, we're just going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to now half double crochet in each of these 4 stitches here, all right, chain 1 and turn. And now you're going to single crochet, so you are going to go not in this space, but this space. 2, 3, and 4. All right, so rows 4 and 5 are going to repeat that. So half double crochet in this row. And then chain 1, turn, and single crochet in this row. And you're saying, Biz, why didn't you just single crochet the whole thing? Well, I didn't single crochet the whole thing because I like the added texture that a half double crochet gives it. It also helps me create length without adding extra holes, because if I had done double crochet in each one of these, then I would have had lots of big spaces in between the stitches. And while I like single crochet, you know, it just, you know, feels like it takes forever sometimes to actually get the height that you want. So with the half double crochet, I still achieve the height that I want quicker, but I don't end up with the big gaping holes that a double crochet would have given me. All right, and so let's see, we're on row 6 now. Row 6 repeats row 3, which is chain 1, turn, single crochet in each. And row 7 is chain 1, turn, single crochet in 2. Then it says chain 2, and it says 7 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and this is where we're going to create our knob. So off of this chain 2 that we just worked, we're going to go into the second one here, and we're going to do 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, just keep going in that same hole, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you should have something that looks like kind of a rounded knob, all right? Now, working in the remaining single crochets from the row, single crochet in each. Don't worry at this point about this sticking up. We're gonna fix that. Chain 1 and turn. Now half double crochet in each of the single crochets across. That is not going to include this. So this is not really one of our stitches. Okay, half double crochet in the first one. Let's work this together. Half double crochet in the second one. Now skipping over this lump, you're going to want to get to the single crochet that's right here. So half double crochet into the single crochet on the other side of the knob, and half double crochet in that last one. Now we're going to do the edging. So we're actually going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch in the first chain. So we counted 1, 2, 3. This is our first chain. So we're going to slip stitch in here, basically creating a picot. Then we're going to single crochet in the end of each row. So working down the side, every single row gets a stitch. This is what helps to make edges pretty. Okay. Now we are going to repeat from here, okay? So basically we're going to 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the first. We're going to start here and we're going to single crochet into each of the bottom. This is where the starting chain was, so this is the bottom of your doorknob. Okay, and now we're going to chain 3 because we're creating a corner again, and slip stitch into that first one. Now we're going to go up the other side of the doorknob, go into the end of the row, and this is where I'll catch this little piece of yarn that was left over from when I did my slip stitch, my slip knot I should say. And I'll just catch that in there as I'm going so that I have less to tuck in with my needle later. Okay, and then here's the end of our last stitch. Then we're going to chain 3. We will slip stitch into that first chain and single crochet in each remaining stitch to our first corner, and I usually just slip and then I will cut off. We're going to go ahead and fix things up so that they're pretty and neat for when we're ready to apply later. I should have left a much longer string than I did, so I'll have to cut another length in order to apply it to the door. Okay. So it doesn't have to be perfect or pristine, but what I'm going to do right now is I want to tack down my doorknob so that it's not sticking straight out from my work. And it really doesn't take a lot. It just took one little stitch just to kind of hold it down, okay? And then I'm going to come back here and I'll tie it off by weaving in one way, catching the back of a loop, and weaving in the opposite way. That way you don't have to deal with a knot, you don't have extra bulk, and I'll cut that off. because like I said, I'm gonna have to, you know, cut a nice big long piece to apply it to the door later anyway. So basically what we just made is a kind of a retro doorknob that has the fancier pointed edges, and we're going to apply it to this side of the door later. All right. Now we are going to do our hinges, which is going to use worsted weight yarn. Or if you've got a DK weight in a black, that would also work. But I used worsted weight because I wanted them to be a little chunkier and have a little more presence. So with this, I'm going to switch back to my number 7 4.5 millimeter. We're going to be making 2 of these, where we only made 1 of the doorknob. We'll make 2 hinges. So we're going to start with a chain 4, 2, 3, and 4, and we will join with a slip stitch to the first chain to make a circle. So way back over here, we'll make a circle. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to 8 single crochets into that center circle. Okay, the circle we just created by slip stitching. So I'm on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now I want you to do that again. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip stitch into that first and make a circle. Chain 1, and then in the center circle of the one that you just made, kind of, you know, like try to ignore this bad boy and just work over that little connection that you've made there, because you want to be working into the circle like you did with the last one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip stitch to join. Kind of turn it all around. Chain 1 and start single crocheting in that center. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, the way that we're going to join these guys so that they make that little try is we're going to come back over here where our first circle is. We're going to find the first single crochet, and we are going to slip stitch into that first, well, no, we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet, and there you'll make that little, almost, but it doesn't show up well, does it? Kind of a try, like a shamrock almost. And then from there, we're going to chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. We are going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So count back 1, 2, 3, and 4. Double crochet. I know black is just awful to work with, isn't it? Double crochet in the next 2 chains. 1 and 2. Half double crochet into 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Single crochet into 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and slip stitch into the very last chain. Now here, I want you to be smarter than I was on the doorknob. Cut yourself a nice long piece. Okay. This is going to take some cleaning up, some tucking in, you know. Get your needle and tuck that end in a little bit better so it's not sticking out on you. Otherwise it's hard to hide on the door if all those things are sticking out, but I think you understand that already. And okay, so now I know this looks a little bit wonky, but what we're actually going to do when we apply this is we're going to twist this so the wrong side of this is actually up. The reason we're going to do that is because it sits more naturally into the little shamrock divot here if we flip it. Now we're going to make 2 of these so that we have 2 hinges. They're going to apply to the right side of the door, one upper and one lower. And I mean, you can, if you want to, just real quick run it so that it's kind of stabilized there. But what I want you to do for the next section is get out some straight pins. I'm gonna go grab some and I'll be right back. All right, so I just wanted to quick show you what I mean by tacking this down. So flip it over so that it's on the wrong side facing you. And sorry about that. And then bring your needle up. And then I just grab a little piece of the tail. It's really just kind of whip stitching it into place. And the reason why I do that is just because it kind of pulls it all together, gets rid of any spaces that there might be in here that aren't going to look right. And then I like to start sewing this onto the door down at the end of the hinge. So I actually weave the yarn all the way to the tip so that I'm starting down there, so that when I lay it down like this, I can start tacking from this end. All right, so I went and I got my handy dandy straight pin Duma Flacci from back in the early 90s when I was actually sewing clothes for my kids. And I have kept it ever since. It's been handy. But now I'm going to use these straight pins to, and I'm kind of doing this funky through the camera screen, so please forgive any weirdness. I want to make sure these guys are down straight. It doesn't look right to me. Okay, so that looks fairly straight. And what I'm going to do, use my straight pins, and I'm going to get through all the layers and tack it, just, you know, just to hold it down, because I know myself, and when I try to sew appliques onto things, whoops, I went through my tablecloth. My stuff scoots around on me if I don't use straight pins. And I'll end up with a wonky or a crooked hinge. So, straight pins are a really great tool to use. Of course, you've got to watch that you're not going to stab yourself or poke yourself. And if you feel like this would just be too dangerous for you, don't use them. Some people really struggle with it. So, okay, that feels, sorry, I just got to pick it up and look at it from a different angle. That looks pretty straight to me on there. So then at this point, using my large eye needle, I'm gonna just poke it through and start tacking it down. And then poke back up through. Now you can go easy on this. You can be super crazy anal and, you know, make sure that every single stitch is tacked down. I don't feel like people are really going to be picking at the hinges that much, so I'm just kind of grabbing, you know, every second or third one down. But I do kind of a back stitch to hold it in place. Okay, and then pop those out. Just stabbed myself. If your pins are getting in your way, take them out. So as you can see, I'm just tacking as I go. Like, I haven't tacked on this side yet, so I'm going to work my way all the way around each of these as much as possible, not necessarily getting it at every stitch. And then I'm also going to tack back down along here. And I'm going to do that with the second one as well. So go ahead and apply your hinges, and I'll meet you back here to do the doorknob. All right, everybody's attached. Shouldn't say everybody, both my hinges are attached. They might be a little wonky in spots, but I'm happy with it. Alrighty, so in relation to your hinges, you want to place your doorknob. And we're going to do essentially the exact same thing. So once again, I'm trying to do this through a camera eye here, and this is weird. So I think I want to put it there. And I'm gonna take a couple of pins and tack it down on each side. All right, so I wove in some yarn so that I had something to attach with, because remember I cut everything too short. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing that I did with the hinges, and just kind of grab some stitches and tack it down. I like to secure the corners just a little bit better than maybe the sides, just because I don't want those peeling up. Now, one thing I want to watch here is I've tacked it, so when I'm coming along this side pulled down a little bit more because I think I tacked this side a little bit tighter. So I'm just going to squinch this up a little bit and make it match. I'm not a fan of ripping things out if I don't have to. I will just jerry rig and go. And remember, this is a blanket of whimsy anyway, so if things are maybe a little cockeyed, it's okay. And then the last stitch for me is going to be this guy. So there is my doorknob on the door. And now the next thing that we're going to do is work on the stone wall. And then we will have to attach the door to the stone wall. But let's go ahead and make that first.